your kitchen, your family's favorite restaurant, by making two kinds of Manchurian. One is dry and one is gravy. So let's look at what you're going to need to make this dish. All you're going to need is 1.5 cup of grated cauliflower, 1.5 cup of grated carrot, 1/4 cup of grated cabbage, 1/4 cup of green onion, half a cup of capsicum finely chopped, half teaspoon of ginger, 1 teaspoon of garlic, 3 tablespoons of corn flour, 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper powder. Now you're going to need all this to make the Manchurian balls. Now for the dry as well as the gravy, we are going to need 2 tablespoons of ginger, 4 tablespoons of garlic, 1/4 cup of onion finely chopped, 1/4 cup of capsicum finely chopped, 1/4 cup of green onion bulbs, 4 to 5 green chilies, these are mild, half cup of green onion greens. You're also going to need some sauces, which are going to be 3 tablespoons of soya sauce, 1.5 tablespoons of chili sauce, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, 2 tablespoons of tomato sauce, 3 tablespoons of corn flour, oil for frying, water and some salt, and that is about it. So now it's as easy as taking all of these vegetables and adding it in a bowl. So let's start with the capsicum, the green onions, the cauliflower, the cabbage and the carrots. So now it's time to add some salt, and using our hands we are going to mix it all together, and we are also going to apply a little pressure so that the water content from the vegetables start oozing out. We want to make sure that the moisture from these vegetables is all coming out. So once you are done with mixing these vegetables with pressure, it's time to cover it up and keep it aside for the next 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, guys, take a small amount between your hands and using both your hands, press it together till the time you start seeing a lot of liquid oozing out of these vegetables. That is exactly what you want. You want your vegetables to start becoming drier. This is what we are going to do with the rest of the vegetables. So we're just simply going to repeat this same process. So once you're done with this process, you will see that there is a lot of liquid that is accumulated. And do not throw this liquid away. We do not throw anything in our kitchen. We are going to utilize this further. And now coming back to our vegetables, you see how crumbly they are? They are just perfect. That is what you want. So now it's time to add some flavor in our vegetables. So let's add some black pepper, followed by some soya sauce, followed by some ginger garlic paste, and some corn flour and the all-purpose flour, which is nothing but maida. Now using your hands, we're going to mix it all in, and once you mix it in, you will realize that this vegetable with the flour is forming into a dough. So that is exactly what you want. You want it to look like a dough. Now guys, take a very small amount in your hand and make round balls out of it. So it's almost like making small rasgullas or very small little tiny little bundi laddus. It's very much like that, and we are just going to repeat the same process with the rest of the vegetable dough. Meanwhile guys, I've already kept the oil for heating, and now it's time for me to turn the flame on medium, and now I'm going to add about 6 to 7 of our Manchurian balls into the oil. We are going to half fry them, and they should look somewhat golden in color before we take them out. Now we are going to repeat the same process with the rest of the Manchurian balls. All of our Manchurian balls are now halfway fried. Now guys, in the hot oil, we are going to refry them all together. So let's add all of these in this hot oil and refry them till the time they start looking nice and golden brown in color. The reason we do this is because they become nice and crisp from the outside and still remain nice and soft from inside. Once they start looking like this, nice and golden brown in color, it's time for us to take them out on a paper napkin or a paper towel so that it sucks out all the excess oil from the Manchurian balls. And look how nice and crisp they are looking. Just absolutely perfect. The color is perfect, the texture is perfect. It's really amazing. So now let's move on. Let's make our dry Manchurian now. So for making the dry Manchurian, I've already taken a pan in which I've already heated some oil. Now let's add some ginger and garlic paste to it and let's cook it for the next 15 to 20 seconds. Make sure that your flame is on high, as whenever we are making Chinese food, the flame always has to be on high. Once the ginger garlic paste is done, it's time to add some green chilies followed by the green onion bulbs and mix it all together. And now it's time to add some green onion leaves. Mix it in as well, and now let's cook it for the next 30 to 45 seconds. And now guys, it's time to add some sauces. So first goes in the vinegar, followed by the green chili sauce, the soya sauce, the tomato ketchup. Mix it all in and let's cook it for the next 30 seconds. While our veggies are getting cooked, let's quickly make our corn flour slurry. So take 1 tablespoon of corn flour. We are going to add about half a cup of water. Mix it in till the time there are no lumps in it. Now we are going to add this corn flour slurry to our pan of vegetables, and we are going to stir it around till the time it thickens. So after a minute our slurry has thickened. Now let's add half of the Manchurian balls in this, as the rest of the half is for the gravy. Now mix the Manchurian balls till the time they are nicely coated with this thickened slurry. Once the Manchurian is coated, it's time to take it out in a serving plate and garnish it with some spring onion leaves. And now it's time for me to give it a try. I can't wait any longer. It's just absolutely amazing. You have to make it. You can just make it as a snack or you can have it with some rice, but you have to make it. So now it's time to make our gravy Manchurian. I've already taken a pan and added some oil and it's nice and hot. Now it's time to add some ginger garlic paste, mix it in, and then we are now going to add some finely chopped onions and green onion bulbs and some green chilies. Mix them all in and add a very little amount of salt. Now guys, remember that the sauces that we are going to add in this also has a lot of salt content, so add very little amount of salt. Now guys, it's time for us to now add the capsicum and the green onion leaves and mix it all in, and now you are going to cook it for just about a minute. So now it's time to start adding the sauces. So first goes in the soya sauce, then the tomato sauce, the vinegar, followed by the green chili sauce. Mix it all in. Now guys, let's quickly make our corn flour slurry. Now remember guys, I asked you to keep that vegetable water aside. We're going to use it. I have about 3/4 cup of that vegetable water. To that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of corn flour along with 1/4 cup of water, and we're going to mix it in till the time there are no lumps. Now I'm going to add this to our pan and I'm going to mix it all till the time the slurry starts thickening. You will start seeing a change in color as well. Once the color starts changing, add the rest of the Manchurian balls in it. Cook it for about 30 to 45 seconds and it's ready to serve. Do garnish it with some green onion leaves, and I absolutely cannot wait to try it. Hello everyone, welcome to Something's Cooking with Alpa, and let's make your kitchen, your family's favorite restaurant, by making restaurant style veg fried rice. And let's look at what we're going to need to make this. Here is what you're going to need. You're going to need about 90% cooked basmati rice, or you can use any rice that you have in your house. So let me tell you guys how I cooked this rice. Basically, I just rinsed the rice and kept it aside for half an hour. Then I kept a lot of water for boiling. Once the water started boiling, I added some salt and that rinsed rice, and I cooked it till the time the rice was 90% done. After that, I drained that rice, applied a little oil so that the rice doesn't stick to each other, and then I let it cool down to room temperature. Now let's move on. For the vegetables, you're going to need 1/3 cup of onion, 1/4 cup of green onion bulb, 1/3 cup of carrot, 1/2 cup of cabbage, 1/2 cup of capsicum, 1/3 cup of green onions. Now I've finely chopped these vegetables. You're also going to need 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of ginger paste, and 1.5 teaspoon of garlic paste. You're also going to need some seasonings and sauces. I've used 1 teaspoon of Chinese seasoning. Now if you can't find this, it is okay. This is optional. You are going to need 1 teaspoon of tomato sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of vinegar, 2.5 teaspoon of soya sauce, and 1 teaspoon of green chili sauce. So this is all you're going to need to make the veg fried rice. And guys, for the exact measurements and their quantities, do visit me on my website, which is www.somethingscookingwithalpa.com, and please subscribe and support us. Okay guys, now in a wok I've already added some oil and it is nice and hot, and now it's time for us to add the ginger and the garlic paste, and we are going to stir this around for the next 10 to 15 seconds. Now guys, remember, whenever you are making Chinese food, the flame always has to be on high. After 15 seconds, let's add the onions, the green onion bulbs, and the carrots. We are now going to cook this for the next 2 to 3 minutes. Make sure to stir it in intervals. Also guys, I highly recommend that you use a big wok or the biggest vessel that you have to make Chinese food, because that evenly distributes the heat and makes your Chinese food taste like restaurant style. Now it's time for us to add the capsicum, the green onion greens, and the cabbage. Now let's mix it all in. And now we are going to cook them for the next 2 minutes. Don't forget to stir in intervals. So after 2 minutes, it's time to give our veggies some taste by adding our spices and our sauces. So first goes in the black pepper, followed by the Chinese seasoning, then the tomato sauce, vinegar, and of course some soya sauce, followed by some green chili sauce, a little bit of salt. And guys, be very careful on the amount of salt that you add to our vegetables, because the sauces that we are using already contain a lot of high amount of salt. Now mix all of this together. Let all the sauces get incorporated with our vegetables. So now guys, let's add our rice. And be very gentle. As it is cooked rice, it can break easily, so be gentle. And now let's mix it in, and once the rice is covered with the sauces and the vegetables, let's turn off the flame and it's time to serve. And isn't it looking amazing? I simply can't wait, so I am digging in. Absolutely restaurant kind. Hello everyone. everyone, welcome to Something's Cooking with Alpa, and today we are going to make Hakka noodles. Now this is a very popular street food. So what you're going to need is 2 packets of Hakka noodles. This is 150 grams each, so you're going to need about 300 grams of Hakka noodles. You're also going to need 1.5 teaspoon of garlic, 1.5 teaspoon of ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, half cup of onions, 1/4 cup of green onion bulbs, half cup of carrots, half cup of capsicum, 1/4 cup of cabbage, and 1/4 cup of green onions. Now these all I have sliced very finely, and this I have just chopped. For the sauces, you're going to need 1 teaspoon of Chinese seasoning, 1.5 tablespoon of soya sauce, 1/4 tablespoon of vinegar, 1 teaspoon of tomato sauce, and 2 tablespoons of green chili sauce, and that is about it. For the written recipe, the ingredients, the exact quantities, you can always visit my website, which is www.somethingscookingwithalpa.com. And guys, please do subscribe to us. This is the one way that you can support us. So now let's begin the process. So guys, I've already kept some water for boiling, and once this water boils, we are now going to add our noodles to it. Now you guys be very careful because these are already pre-cooked noodles, so they don't take too long, just 4 to 5 minutes and your noodles will be cooked. So always keep an eye on it when they are getting cooked. Also, the ends of these noodles always end up sticking to each other. So see what I'm doing over here? Very lightly, very gently, you separate the ends out, and once the noodles are cooked, you drain the water and you run cold water over it, and you take a little bit of oil in your hand and spread it across on the noodles so that they don't stick to each other. And now we are going to keep it aside for a bit. Meanwhile guys, I've added some oil in my big wok, and it's nice and hot, and it's time for us to add some ginger and garlic paste, and we are going to cook this for about 30 to 40 seconds. It's time for us to add the onions, the green onion bulbs, and the carrots. Now we're going to mix it around and cook it for the next 2 to 3 minutes. So after 2 minutes, it's time for us to add the rest of the vegetables. So first goes in the cabbage, then the capsicum, and then the green onions. Mix it all in and let this cook for the next minute or so. Now you'll ask me why I added these vegetables later on. That is because these vegetables take much faster to cook than the onions and the carrots, and we want to still have a little crunch to these vegetables. That is why I added them towards the end. Now we are going to cook these vegetables for the next 2 minutes. It's time to add some flavor to our vegetables. So first let's add some salt, followed by some black pepper, Chinese seasoning, vinegar, green chili sauce, tomato sauce, and then of course some soya sauce. And now we are going to mix it all in and let all the sauces get mixed in with the vegetables. And now guys, it's time for us to add the noodles, and I always prefer to add these noodles using my hands so that they don't stick to one another. You just don't want to dump them all in. And now we are gently going to mix this in. You can always use 2 spatulas to mix them in, and once they are nicely mixed in, coated with the sauces and the vegetables, it's time for us to turn off the flame and garnish it with some green onions. And I absolutely cannot resist it, so I am digging in. Amazing. Guys, इसको बोलते हैं Hakka noodles. No more eating out. You can make this at home. You saw how easy, quick and easy it was. Just make this. I know you're going to love it. If you have kids in your house, they are going to become your fan even more. So guys, I hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye bye.